Do you remember your grandparents on your mother's side?
No, my grandmother, my mother's mother died in Europe. And my mother's father married again. That's when my mother left to go to Scotland as a single girl. My mother's mother died in Europe. And my mother's father married again. That's when my mother left to go to Scotland as a single girl. Then my grandfather, with his second wife, came to Canada.
Okay.
Europe, from Poland.
Okay.
And he had one daughter. That daughter name was my aunt Anne Grace. Her name was Anne Rachel, and she got married in Canada to Jake Cohn. That was my mother's stepsister, but they always called her sister.
Where were your mother and father born?
My mother was born in Poland.
And her maiden name was?
Flora Rachel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your father?
My father was born, I don't know where my dad was born, whether it was around there or not, but they met in Glasgow, and they got married in Glasgow.
What did your father do?
My father used to make handmade cigarettes, cigarettes by the hand, and then we had our own store. We made cigarettes.
Was it a tobacconist shop?
Tobacconist shop, yeah.
And he sold cigarettes and pipes and so
yeah,
forth?
stuff like that, yeah.
Do you know how your mother and father met?
No, that I don't know.
And when did they move to Canada?
We came out to Canada on I think it was 21. 21 or 22? 21.
Dad, I'd like to ask you,
Yeah.
if I may, a little bit about your family.
Yeah.
Do you remember your grandparents?
No.
How about your parents?
Yeah.
Their names were?
Simon and Breine. Bertha.
And do you know where they were born?
In Vilna,
And where's Vilna?
Russia.
Russia.
Russia. When did they move to Glasgow?
Before my time. Must have been
Well, I think Alf was the only one that was born in Europe. Max and everybody was born in Glasgow.
it'd be, I'd say, 1880.
Around 1880.
Yeah.
And what did your father do?
He was a tailor.
He had his own shop.
He was a tailor
a workshop.
and
Making
specialized in pants.
pants.
The
yeah.
pant business. Manufacturing pants for the stores that had retail sales.
Do you remember the story of how your parents met?
No way.
No.
And how many children did they have?
5.
What were the names of the children?
It was Alfred, Max, Abram, Isaac,
And you?
and Louis.
You're the youngest.
That's right.
You went to school in Glasgow?
Yeah, I was born in Glasgow.
What schools do you remember what schools you went to?
Buchan Street School.
That's right. That's the one I went to.
When did you meet Ma?
I met Ma.
In school.
Do you remember if it was in school, do you remember what grade it was?
Oh, I don't know. I used to carry my books, that's all.
And what grade was that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe, well, I was quite big. I was 11 and was going into high school. I was 11 years old.
What type of activities did you get involved in during your school days?
Oh, nothing much. We didn't do
Were
nothing.
you involved in sports?
No, not me. No.
Dad, were you involved in any sports?
Football.
My father was a sport. My father used to referee a school, referee football match.
Soccer matches?
Yeah, my dad used to referee a match. I was only a kid, and I used to see him come home on a Saturday, and he'd put little short pants on, and it's always freezing in Glasgow, but he never wore a coat, and he went with his short pants and a flag, and he used to run out even without his dinner, but he went to didn't matter about the store or anything, he had to go to the football match, to referee the match. My dad was a big sports fan. Where that's concerned, that's all. I don't know whether he likes the horses.
Did you play football in high school?
Yeah,
What position did you play on the team?
goalkeeper.
Goalkeepers had to be pretty fast.
Well, I was fast.
He was always fast. He was too fast.
I was considered a good goalkeeper.
How did you ask Ma to marry you? You remember?
No, he didn't.
I do it. He has to get 3 words to your one.
I see.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember what happened at that time?
Because I was leaving Glasgow before him. And I said to him that we're leaving Glasgow, and so I said, I guess I won't see you. So he says, oh yes, I'm going to come out. And I knew he had no parents, and he was living with his brother Alf. And I said, oh, your brother Alf won't let you go. So he says, you'll see that I'll get there. I knew he never had 2 dimes to rub up against. So.
Well, what happened to the tailor shop, to the business
Yeah, but
that was running?
Alf was in it.
Well, my brother took it over after a while when my dad passed away. But, and he operated it. He had the customers available at his command, and
How old were you when you lost your parents?
I was,
Were you bar mitzvah? I don't think you were 13.
no, I was about 11 years old.
Yeah, I thought that. Because he had no bar mitzvah. And the brothers all split up. This one went to one aunt, another aunt, and Alf took him, being the youngest. I think Alf maybe was just married to Millie then.
And which brother took the store?
Alf, the eldest one.
Alf took the store.
Yeah, he took.
And how long did the store stay in operation?
Oh, till he was sick. You were out too at the time. Oh.
Okay, so Ma, you came to Canada
Yeah,
with your parents.
yeah.
Dad stayed home, working in Glasgow.
No, he didn't. He even left before I did.
He wound up leaving
Glasgow.
and
No.
coming to Canada
Yeah,
before you.
me, yeah.
You don't get the story right.
He,
Okay, well, let's get your version.
Okay. When it was decided that the Cutlasses were moving
to Canada.
to Canada, I had to find a way to go to Canada to be with her. The government was applying for men to do harvesting in Western Canada. I applied for one of the jobs, and I was
Cost you nothing that way.
taken in the company, and I was shipped to Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon.
It was past Saskatoon. Saskatchewan,
Oh,
to a farmer's dwelling, and got the job of attending to the wheat off that farm in stooking and thrashing.
And how long were you on the farm in Saskatchewan?
On the farm for about 3 months.
That's all.
3 months.
In the meantime, when did you come to Canada?
We came
How
out.
long after Dad got here?
Oh, it was only a few months. It was a few months later he came.
No,
He came from Saskatoon to
No, what I'm
Canada.
saying is, when did you come to Canada in relation to when he got to the farm?
Oh, it wasn't long. We were leaving maybe about the week or 2 weeks after.
Okay, it was within a 20,
Yeah, it was
30
right, yeah.
So you left with your family
Yeah,
You came to Hamilton?
yes, right to Hamilton.
Now, how did Dad eventually get back to Hamilton?
Well, he got paid for the work that he was doing there, and he used to write me, and when he got his money, he bought a ticket to come to Hamilton.
When the harvesting
Was
was
over, that's right.
then I got paid off and came back
To Hamilton.
came to
Came
Hamilton.
here, yeah.
When did you get married?
We got married in 22 of that year.
And that was in Hamilton?
Yes,
That was after you came back from Saskatchewan?
that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
How long after you got back did you get married?
Oh,
But
a few months.
almost a
Wasn't-
year.
No, it wasn't a year.
It was almost a year.
When you got to Hamilton, where did you live, Ma? Where did you and your family move to?
My aunt got a house for us on Wellington Street, near my aunt. My Auntie Annie lived there. And then I stayed with my mother
On Wellington Street
on
North?
Wellington, yeah.
And was that where you were living when Dad came back from
Yeah,
Saskatchewan?
yeah.
And where, at this point, where did you move to when you came back from Saskatchewan?
You stayed at my mother's.
Stayed right in the house?
You never had a price to care. No, stayed at the house.
When you moved in to the
Yeah.
with the Cudlises
Yeah.
on Wellington,
Yeah,
where did you get a job at that point?
Canadian Porcelain.
yeah, my father worked there.
The Canadian Porcelain Company.
Okay, so Grandpa the Great worked at that company and he got you a job there.
That's right.
Yeah.
What type of work did you do there?
It was
What do you call those cylinders that go on the wires outside?
Insulators?
Yeah. Stuff, yeah.
It was in manufacturing.
yeah, oh yeah.
yeah.
You worked there
Yeah.
for how long before you and Ma got married?
Wasn't long. Because he went to my mother and asked Ma that he'd like to get married. My mother said, oh gee, this thing went right down. That's going to go right in there.
Well, I'll get it out.
Oh gee. And my... I hope this is... Look,
It'll melt.
it was cold. What are you talking about? So my mother said that I'm too young and that I have an older sister and that when Dora, if Dora gets married, like when Dora gets married, there'll be lots of time for us to get married, that I was too young and that she would, that I should wait. So he comes and tells me what my mother said, and so he said, your sister's not even going with anybody. Dora didn't have a boyfriend then. So we went to Rabbi Levine, and we got married by Rabbi Levine.
Okay.
Yeah. My cousin, you know who was there?
Huh?
Fanny Walter.
The camera, madam, happens to be this way.
This
Oh,
way,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
not over there.
When you got married,
Yeah.
did you go into your own apartment right away?
No, we were going to run away.
Tell me about that. That's the new one.
Yeah, we were going to run away, and my mother said to Betty that I'm up to something, because she looked in my closet and my clothes were gone. I was afraid to go home and tell my mother that we went and got married, because it wasn't the right thing to do. I realize it now. But anyway, so I was working.
Just a moment, let's
Yeah.
go back to when you got married.
Yeah.
Where did you get married?
Here in Hamilton.
But you said that they didn't know that you got
No,
married?
my mother didn't know.
Well, where did you get married?
At Rabbi Levine.
You went right to Rabbi Levine,
Yeah.
just the two of you?
No, my cousin Walter, Fanny Goldberg, and Walter Goldberg.
Okay,
Just
so
a minute.
it was a quiet wedding.
Oh yeah, nobody was there. Yeah.
And then you went home and told everyone?
No,
guess
I
what?
didn't. No, I didn't. I said to Louis, we'll go to Montreal and we'll both get a job. That's what I intended to do. Anyway, my mother saw my clothes was missing, so she sent Betty up. I worked in the Metropolitan store. She sent Betty up to the store, and Betty says, Ma wants, Betty said something about, Ma wants to see you. You got to come home tonight, or something to that effect. Anyway, I started crying, and I went home. And he came home, and I said that we went and got married. So Ma said, so what was the right? You didn't have to. You could have waited. Anyway, we got married, and she said, you might as well stay here until you can get a place.
So you stayed in Wellington Street North?
I stayed with my mother, and the following year, I think
What year was this that you got married?
22.
And your wedding was on what date?
September 21st.
September 21st, 1922.
Yeah, 22 or 23? Might have been 23 then. Because we came out 22. Yeah, 23.
23.
Yeah.
Now, where was your first apartment?
I didn't have an apartment. We took a house on Cathcart Street.
In other words, you bought a house in...
No, I rented.
Oh, you rented a house?
Rented a house on Cathcart
What
Street.
was the address on Cathcart Street?
No, I don't know.
You remember what rent you paid?
Yeah, $20 a month.
Cash?
Cash, yeah.
And who paid the utilities?
Oh, we had to buy the stove and buy the fridge and buy the furniture.
How was the house heated?
We had a furnace.
Coal or oil or gas?
No, coal then.
Coal.
Yeah.
Dad, where were you working at the time?
I think you were still at the porcelain.
And Mom, were you working?
Yes, I was working.
Where?
I was working in the Metropolitan store.
Still at the Metropolitan?
Yes.
How long after you moved into that house
Yeah.
was Bert born?
Oh, a year later.
A year later?
A year later.
Dad, were you still working at Canadian Porcelain at that time?
I think you were.
Guess so.
Yeah.
I worked there for several years.
Yeah.
Bert was born while you were living there. What hospital was that? Bert was born in?
It was St. Joseph's.
At St. Joe's?
Yeah.
You were close by the General Hospital.
Yeah, it was closer there.
But
I don't think they took. I don't think that they took the. Wait a minute. I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh, Bert. Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't go to the hospital. Bert was born at home. That's right. I just thought of it.
Why did you not go to the hospital?
I was afraid of hospitals. I went to the hospital with Norma, and I went to the hospital with you. But at Bert, I had that house in the house. That's right. I forgot. I forgot.
And who was the doctor at that time?
Dr. Siegel.
How
Dr. Siegel.
was Bert as a baby? What type of a baby was she?
Bert was. Bert was. How could I say it?
Took after her father. She was good looking.
I don't know about the good looks, but she was very obstinate. Because my sister Dora was married a few years later, and Bert was only a pitzel, and we wanted her to be a flower girl, and she didn't want to walk down the aisle. My Auntie Beanie was here from California with her daughter, and we thought we'd have the two kids walk down, and this was standing with a drain her feet. I remember it like it was yesterday.
How long did it take to train her?
I didn't train her.
You didn't train her?
I couldn't train her.
You had no patience?
No. The other two was nothing like that. Norma.
She trained herself.
No, Norma was.
You grew up fast.
Yeah. Norma was a very quiet girl, and Shirley was a board. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. What I want to find out now is, Bert was born. You were living on Wellington Street.
That's right.
Where was your next move?
From Wellington Street, we stayed there. A few years later, Alf came out. His brother took sick in Glasgow. And Millie wrote a letter saying His brother, you met Alf, did you not? Yeah. His brother Alf once was a man of over 200 pounds. And she wrote a letter saying that he has to go into the hospital to get the serious operation and that they don't know if he'll make it. She wrote it bluntly in the letter. This guy wanted to go home to see his brother.
Your husband, you mean?
Yeah. And
guy.
he wanted to go home to see Alf. So he went home, and I went back to work, and he went to Glasgow. And he stayed with Alf. Alf was in the hospital, and he stayed at Millie. And Millie had the 2 boys then. And when Alf got out of the hospital, the doctor told him that he cannot go back to the machine.
What machine was that?
The machine he was doing his father's pants, the pants factory. And he told him that he's got to get an outside job. Meanwhile, he was getting better, and Louis came back.
Okay, Dad, when you came back to... How long were you in Glasgow, first of all?
He stayed there a few months.
What do you mean?
How long did
When you
you stay
went
in
to
Glasgow?
when you went to Alf
I was born in Glasgow.
No. But when you went back to Glasgow
to see Alf,
to see Alf when he was sick, how long did you stay there?
he stayed a few months.
Yeah, about 6 months.
Sure he
And what
did.
did you do in Glasgow during that 6 months?
Visited all my friends.
You didn't work then when you were there that 6 months.
No.
When you got back to Hamilton, what did you do?
Then
I went to work.
Yeah, but then
Did you go back to Canadian?
No.
No. I
He
went
went
in
back to
the fruit business.
yeah,
You went to the food business?
Fruit
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 business.
business, yeah.
With
Percy Wright,
Percy Wright?
No.
Westo.
Tell me about your start in the fruit business.
I started the fruit business because I leased a counter in one of the chain
Oh,
stores.
Metropolitan Store.
Metropolitan
That's
stores.
right.
This was when you came back from Glasgow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I leased the counter and I operated as a fruit counter to the people of the city coming in to buy merchandise.
Where was the store located?
King Street
Where,
East.
Near where?
I'll
Near
tell you in a
James.
minute, just a minute.
King near James.
Yeah.
Where Woolworth is today.
How large a counter did you have?
About
It's a counter.
12 feet long.
And you used to go to the market, pick up your produce, and set up in the...
Not necessarily the market. This was imported fruit that was being sold, and you bought them from fruit dealers,
Oh, I see. Okay.
like sun-kissed oranges and bananas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How long did you stay at Metropolitan stores with that?
I stayed for several years, quite a few years.
And then what was your next venture from there?
I think you went into the candy.
From there, yes, we organized a situation whereby we opened a
Oh, no, wait a minute.
candy factory.
I think you went into work for Howe's before you opened your own candy factory.
What's the difference?
Yeah. He went to work as a shipper for Howe Candy.
How Candy?
Howe Candy. Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember what year that was?
26.
Were you still living on Wellington Street at the time?
26. No, we were in our own house then.
And this house was where?
On Cathcart.
That's right, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Cathcart.
yeah.
How long did you stay on Cathcart Street?
Oh, I stayed there, maybe 4 years. 4 years. 3 years, 4 years.
What did you do in the evenings, on weekends, What type of activities did you get involved in other than working?
Nothing, just used to go up to my mother's all the time, and we used to play cards there.
Could you get a little closer together?
And my aunt lived there. I had another aunt on Wilson Street. We used to go over there. And my aunt had a big family there, so we used to get together there.
Did you go dancing?
There was a club here from the Beth Jacobs, and my sister Dora belonged. I couldn't join it because I think they took them in at 19 or something, and I wasn't old enough. So any function that went on, Dora would get tickets, and we would
Even
go.
though you were married, you still couldn't go?
No, I couldn't go because they had to. She got our tickets, and we went. I couldn't be a member. Let me put it that way.
I see. How about summers? Well, how did you spend your summers during those years?
Well, there was the granddaughter picnics and stuff like that. That's all. We
I'd
never,
go fishing with the boys up
he
north.
he would go a lot of fishing, but I never went anywhere.
What boys were you going fishing with in those days?
Oh, he went with Harry Leibowitz. Who else? Bill Cohen.
Tell me, Ma, how did you bait the hook?
Not me. I don't know how to bait the hook.
Okay,
No.
then, Dad, can you tell me how did you bait the hook? I knew that there'd be one question that you would be able to answer,
Yeah.
or that Ma would let you answer. Okay, so you went fishing during the summer with the boys.
Yeah.
At that time, was there bowling in the winter time? How did you spend your?
Oh yeah.
He bowled.
You bowled
Yeah.
with grand order?
Yeah, we had
Five, 10 in those
we had
I
teams.
went bowling too. I forgot about that.
Ma went bowling too.
Yeah.
Okay, now time goes by.
Yeah.
You're in the candy business.
Yeah.
You're living on Cathcart Street, and Norma's born.
No, not on Cathcart Street.
Okay, when did you move from Cathcart Street?
When Alf and Millie came out, where did we move to? Cannon, was it? Balsam Avenue.
Way out the East End.
The East End, yeah. $25 a month.
So you went from $20 a month to $25.
25, because this one we had a double house, upstairs and downstairs.
You were able to rent out the upstairs?
Well, Alf and Millie came out with the two kids.
And
So
took
they
the
had upstairs, we had downstairs.
You were living on Balsam when Norma was born.
That's right, yeah.
And you were still at the candy company, Dad?
Can't remember where you were. I think he was at How Candy.
How was Norma as a baby?
Norma was a very good baby, very quiet baby, good. She was a good baby.
No problem.
No trouble.
By this time, how old was Bert?
3.
No, Bert was 5.
5.
5,
Bert?
6, yeah.
Bert was just getting ready to go into school?
Yeah, she was just going to school.
A dynamo in school?
She was good at school.
Good in school, no problem.
No problem, no. She was good at school.
Now, when was your next move away from the candy company?
I think you left the candy and you got, what's his name? What's her name, Wright? Wright's husband. Remember? I forget her.
Percy Wright?
No, not Percy's sister. Shirley Wright's husband.
Right.
Tannenbaum. Johnny Tannenbaum and Buchhalter. Sam Buchhalter was the two fellas that put in the money to open up a candy business. Candy manufacturing.
And what was the name of this company?
Victoria.
Where was it located?
I don't know the name of it.
Where was it located,
Where
Dad?
did you have the factory? I forget already.
Victoria, that's right.
Where was it?
Victoria, on Victoria.
Was it?
Victoria
I
Avenue.
can't remember.
On Victoria Avenue.
I can't remember that.
What was your job
Oh,
there,
yeah,
Dad?
that.
Shipper and the
Salesman?
office work and company salesmanship.
How long did the company stay in business?
Oh, we were in business for
Few years.
few years, yes.
And from that business, and why did it fold, first of all?
He couldn't get along with the guys. Couldn't get along with Buchhalter. Not Johnny. Johnny was all right.
Mom, what were you doing during this time?
I was always working.
How'd you work with two pit bulls when you were?
Well, I was always near my mother. That's right. I was always near my mother. And them days, I had a girl. I used to go in the afternoon to work. And I had a shiksa, a maid, for $10 a month.
Dad, after you left the Victoria Candy Company, where did you go from there?
Went back to Glasgow.
Oh, he never went back to Glasgow. What's the matter with him? He did not.
What happened after the Candy Company?
Where did he go after the candy?
When did he go into Beacon Tire?
Oh, that's right, yeah. I think the war broke out. I don't know. What made you go into Beacon Tire?
Was this the First World War or the Second World War?
Second World War.
Oh, okay.
What's the matter with you? No, he worked at the Hamilton Auto Parts.
Is that where you went from the Candy Company?
Yeah.
How did
Shipper.
you decide to go to Hamilton Auto Parts?
I don't know.
Because my friends worked there.
All the Yidlach in town worked at Hamilton Auto
Yes,
Parts.
Nate
right.
Sherman, they all worked there.
How long did you stay there, Dad?
I don't know, 2-3 years.
He was there a few years.
And where was your next move?
Did you go to Beacon Tire after that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. He was at Beacon Tire. I don't know if it was before or after, but that was the two auto parts places that he was
Okay.
in. Yeah.
And tell me how long you stayed on Balsam Avenue.
Oh, we stayed there. Then we took separate places. We both, Millie and I both moved to Victoria Avenue. That's right.
But in
And-
separate homes?
Yes, I had a duplex on Victoria, and she had one up the street on Victoria.
Did you rent or buy?
No, we rented.
Last time you were paying $25 a month.
Yeah.
What were you doing on Victoria? How much a month?
Victoria, I paid $25, but it was heated.
So you actually made a good move.
Yes.
Paid the same and got more.
Well, it wasn't the same because we were splitting the rent at Millie's.
Oh,
with
I see.
Millie.
Millie's only cost you $12.50
That's right. And this was 25 by myself.
by yourself.
Yeah.
Were
But it
you
was-
still working at this time?
I didn't work steady. It was just I didn't.
And when you were living on
afternoon.
Balsam Avenue,
Yeah,
that was out in the suburbs.
that's right.
And now you decide to move back into the downtown area.
That's right, yeah.
How did you manage to commute from Balsam Avenue to where the family was?
The buses.
They did have
Well,
buses.
it wasn't
that
buses,
far?
it was streetcars.
Streetcars.
Yeah, streetcars, yeah. The streetcars, we had a car, but I used the streetcar. Daddy used the car.
What was your first car, Dad?
Oh, gee,
1923 Ford.
that's right.
You remember how much you paid for it?
$200.
I don't remember.
Yeah, $200.
Did you pay cash or did you finance it?
That was cash. Because I don't think it was a new one.
No, it was
It wasn't a new one. no.
Okay. Where was Shirley born?
in bed.
Cheryl was born in Ontario. Ontario or oh, wait a minute. Just a minute. No, I think Victoria Avenue. Oh, yeah, because I remember it. Bert was going to school, and I had called the doctor, and he said that I should go up to the hospital. So I said to Bert, I said to the woman upstairs, Bert, here's the key. The kid is going to come from school, and just tell her that I went uptown. Well, how did my mother know? I don't know how my mother knew. So whether the little one, whether she walked up to my mother, I don't remember. Next thing I knew, I didn't call him and I didn't call my mother. I had the doctor take me up to the hospital. In them days you could do what you like with them. Because he said to me, do you want to call Louie? And I said, no. So he said, well, how are you going to get up to the hospital? I said, you'll take me up. He says, okay. So I got ready and I went with him. And I left the key with the woman upstairs. It was a duplex.
Dad, where were you at this time?
He was, I think you were still at How Candy.
And where was he? Were you bowling that night, or?
Oh, no, this was during the day.
This was during the, you were at
During
work?
the day. He was at work, yes, he was at work.
When you came home from work, what, was there a note on the door?
No, he came up to the hospital with my mother. That's how. So I don't know whether Bert walked up to the house, and because my mother was just up the street. She wasn't far. So whether the kid went up or whether she phoned, I don't know. But the next thing I knew, the two of them were at the hospital.
Now Shirley comes home,
Yeah.
and you go back to work again?
No.
Now you decide to retire
Yeah,
and stay home.
that's right.
Dad, where are you working at this time?
I was home.
Where were you working now?
When
Shirley.
Shirley was born.
And you had another mouth to feed.
I think you were still with, what's his name?
Still at,
Rosenblatt.
Beacon Tire?
Beacon Tires, yeah.
Still living on Victoria Avenue?
Yeah.
Where did you move from Victoria Avenue?
We bought a house on Ontario Avenue. It was my first house.
What number Ontario?
75.
75 Ontario. You remember what you paid for the house?
$3,300.
How did you finance it?
We had a 3% mortgage.
3%.
Yeah. Sure.
How much cash did you put down, do you remember?
$300. And I didn't have it. My aunt gave me one and my mother gave me two.
And that was,
Rent there. No, I didn't buy there.
no.
Ontario was the first house I bought.
Yeah, where did you go from Beacon Tire?
I don't
Beacon
remember.
Tire.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't know what
I think that's when he must have bought the store.
That's when you bought Thrifty Food Market?
Then when he opened 50.
When you opened Thrifty Food.
Yeah.
How did you decide to open the store? What gave you the idea to go into the store?
Well, it was a self-serve idea of mine.
Nate Sherman once said to him, if you need money, he was quitting he worked there too. He worked at Hamilton Auto Parts. And Nate said he was quitting and he was going to start on his own. And he says, Louie, you should get into something for yourself. And if you need money, I will lend you money. And that put a bug in his ear. And he went and looked into the store. I don't know why it was. Well, Lenny was in the grocery, wasn't he? I think Lenny was in it. Yeah, Lenny was in the store. And he looked into it, and that's when he started it, with Nate's money.
Now, did you both go to work in the store?
Yeah.
You both worked in the store.
Yeah.
She was a cashier.
Yeah.
In other words, you were responsible for getting the merchandise, buying the merchandise, and
Oh.
Mom was responsible for taking the money out.
Yeah.
I was responsible for running the store and employing people suitable for their jobs and doing the buying for the store.
It was a big
And you
store.
ran the store while you were living in Ontario Avenue.
I guess so. Ontario Avenue?
I can't
I
remember.
don't know.
Where did we go
Anyway.
from Ontario? Yeah, from Ontario I moved to Bond Street. That's right.
And then you moved to Bond Street.
Yeah, from Ontario.
And do you remember what year it was that you moved to Bond Street?
I bought the house for 33. And I sold the house for 75. I bought Bond Street for 95. So maybe it was, what is it, Cheryl? You were 11?
That's when you moved, that's when you bought
I
Bond
don't
Street.
think you were that old.
You can't.
I don't think, because I remember Ann Carr coming up, you had something on in school, and she came up for me, and we both went up to school. You were only little. You weren't, no, 10, 11. No, you were younger than that. I can't remember the age.
What were your outside activities or outside interests during those years?
I don't know, we just got together, played cards. That's all. There was no Mars then.
No Maj?
No, there was no Mars then.
When was Maj
Jeez, I don't know.
invented?
Years ago. Was it? I don't remember. I don't remember. Years ago, because I know I had an older set.
That's how you remember the...
Yeah, it was an old set with wood.
And Dad, what were you doing of interest during those days?
Oh, he played cards all the time.
I was a member of the Hamilton Bridge Club,
That's right.
and that's where we got together with all the boys and we played bridge, very serious type bridge.
And you played poker.
Not so much poker up there. The bridge club.
But what's the name? You know,
Harry Bork
yeah, that's right.
owned the club.
How did you spend your vacation times? And how did you manage vacations while you had the store?
We were lucky to go for 2 weeks. Remember?
Yeah.
You couldn't get away. Crystal Beach went, that's it. That's about all. Summertime.
You had more time than I had. Because I had,
A big thing.
well, I had 3 cashiers, 3 machines going.
Where was your 3?
1, 2, 3.
There was only 2. What are you handing me?
I was the 3rd.
Yeah. 3 machines.
How long did you stay in the store?
We had the store a long time.
I don't know. 12 years.
I don't know how long. I don't know how long it was.
And then you sold the store and got into the mortgage business.
Right.
And Ma retired to the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday Maj games.
Exactly.
And Dad, you worked in the mortgage business until you decided to take an early retirement
Right.
and
Yeah.
live off the fat of the land.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what he's doing now.
And now you're taking it easy, spending your winters in Florida.
Hi.
Yeah.
And Ma has
Yeah.
decided to join the ranks of the
What?
employed and has gone back to work
Yeah, at 1 day a week.
1 day a week to keep yourself occupied. Ma still
Yeah.
enjoying her Maj games.
That's all. That's for
Dad's
sure.
still making a living, a quiet living at his poker game on Tuesday night.
That's what you think. That's not what he tells me.
I hear he's the best in the West
Yeah.
on Tuesday night. Now you have
What?
your 3 daughters
Yeah.
and their husbands
Yeah.
and your grandchildren
Yeah. Bless them.
and your great-grandchildren. When the family gets together, Kinahora,
Yeah.
there's a whole gang.
Yeah.
It must be very enjoyable and
Well, it is.
rewarding
It is. And it's just,
Sure is.
to have them all come up here.
yeah.
Sure is.
Oh, dear.
And we hope it will continue for
How long it will
some
last, I
time
don't
to
know.
come.
And I must admit that
Well.
your skills in the kitchen, Ma,
Well.
have improved greatly. I
Oh,
want you to know that you've done very well, you've improved, and the
Well,
standards have come up.
after all, I got a few lessons from you, so that helps a lot. Don't forget. Yeah,
What's tonight?
tonight's Friday night.
Tonight,
What's the date?
today is November the 5th,
Yeah, what's
1982.
today?
Friday.
And you have Tuesday after dinner.
Oh,
We had Bert and Saul, and Susie and Steve, and Jordy and Ashley,
Yeah,
and Shirley and her husband,
yeah,
and Mom and Dad.
yeah.
We had a whole gang. It was just lovely. This has been a delightful interview. And
we thought
will
we were
carry
just-
this on. We will
Yeah,
carry this on
yeah.
down in the